Oilersnation Radio. Episode 60. Whatever it is. 260. Liam on the beats. Rick on the couch. Tyler on his computer. He's checking the news because there's lots to talk about today. Bag Milk here. We're missing Nation Dan. The rest of the gang's here. Lots to talk about. Liam, thank you for the beat.
No problem.
Where do you come up? When do you start thinking about the beats?
When I sit down and you say, I need a beat.
Fair enough.
That's impressive.
It's just got a lot of stuff going on in my head.
You always got a rhythm. You're like Billy Joel in that way. There's always a tune in your head.
Yeah.
You just got to let it out. I want to start off the podcast as we do every week for a shout out with our friends at Oodle Noodle, 18 locations and counting, including a brand new one down in Calgary. If you have family in Calgary, if you live in Calgary, if you know people in Calgary, tell them to check that out because you deserve better food. Got it? Tyler, agree?
Yes.
I had Oodle Noodle last night.
I'm having noodle tonight.
I got a wonton soup and spring rolls and green onion cakes, and it was exactly what my body needed after the nation vacation.
Sounds good, man.
Was good. Was good. What do you got for a delicious debate for us today?
Yes, Puljujarvi will be a healthy scratch tonight. That is the expectation, at least, heading into the Oilers game against the Seattle Kraken back at Rogers Place. And that is obviously fueling up the old trade speculation machines. Or our delicious debate today is guess the return for Jesse Puljujarvi.
Could be anything.
It really could be anything at this point. Like anything in the world.
That's an illegal bet, or that's an illegal guess.
Yeah.
Yes. We should can we take a note of these, Tyler, just to see how close we get when the trade actually happens?
Yeah, sure.
I would assume it's just a pick.
What round?
Yeah.
And what year? What's your closest guess?
I think it'll be a third or fourth round pick.
You gotta, no or.
You're going
one. Third round with a condition.
There you go.
Condition.
If the whoever he gets traded to gets like
a playoff round type of thing?
Yeah, if they make the playoffs or something like that, maybe. So yeah, I'll do a fourth round pick with the condition of it turning into a third in 2026.
2026.
Yep.
3 years from now.
Hell yeah.
But then what's your condition?
That if they make it to the conference finals. That makes sense. If you're probably giving him to a lesser team who has money to take him because none of the top teams have any money.
So what year do they have to make the conference finals?
Within the next 3 years. I don't know. Is that a condition? That seems like a condition.
Sure.
That's what I would negotiate.
I bet you it's a condition, the AHL or AJHL, sorry.
AJHL?
Yeah, that's where you do
your negotiating.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just putting 2026 conditional fourth round pick for Liam.
No, actually, I want to change it.
Oh my God, man.
If he signs a new deal with the team.
Thank you. Okay.
There you go.
So I'll make it 2025.
You're driving me nuts.
Rick, you're up next.
Mine's going to be different than absolutely everybody's.
Good.
I'm going to tell you the return is nothing.
Future considerations?
Nope. It's nothing.
What do you mean?
You know why? Because I don't think they actually trade him. I think they use him as kind of a rental type of guy and he walks at the end of the year. So, and especially with Yamamoto going back on LTIR, you're really having an issue with right wingers, right? And I'm not saying you got to put him in the top 6. I'm just saying that how do you drop 2 right wingers off this lineup right now?
I agree. So So
I'm going to say they ride it out. I don't see the return being very helpful other than cap wise for this playoff run. I think you'd rather have a body like him. I understand there's not a lot of offense coming out of him. But there's also not a lot of defensive lapses either. So if he's either neutral or plus, that's a decent player to have in your bottom 6. So I would say he's going to stay here through the playoffs, and at the end of the summer something will happen.
I guess just to add to my point, I kind of hope they don't trade him because I think he does have some value to the team, and I agree with what you just said. And his offense has slightly been getting better since he did.
He's got 3 in his last 12 or something like that.
Yeah, and I know that's not fantastic, and for the money
20 and a half goals a year. So says some tweet I saw the other day.
20 and a half goals.
Yes.
How do you score half a goal?
Well, that's just look at betting.
Oh, that's his over under.
Yeah. Well, no, I think it's so if you're on 3 goals and 12, that gives you 20 and a half over 84.
Oh, so he's on whatever. That's what he's on pace for.
Yeah. If that was to.
Yeah. I mean, in Puljujarvi's defense, we've seen 2 decent seasons out of him, and he earned this third contract in a way. So yeah, I don't know. I don't want to see him go, but if I do think he'd go, that's what I think the value would maybe be around.
Makes sense.
Tyler, what do you got?
I'm going to say a 2024 third round pick and a conditional 2025 third round pick. The 2023 third rounder and a conditional 2024 third rounder if he resigns. So basically, Oilers are guaranteed a third rounder. The team that's getting them, some rebuilding team. If they just want to take a gamble on him for 3 months, you're paying a third round pick to take that gamble. If you want to re-sign him and keep him long term because you like what you saw, it'll cost you another third rounder.
My guess is going to be a third round pick in 2023, along with a player that we've never heard of. I'm talking like a Zach Puljujarvi kind of situation when they traded Yakupov.
So not even like a Klim Kostin. You got someone even more unknown.
I think that the Oilers are going to be fishing for space on this one.
You can't turn around and spend it directly.
Oh, I get it. But
That's interesting, actually.
That's my guess is a third round pick and a Zach Puljujarvi type prospect.
A contract.
We've never heard of. Yep.
Okay, so
the Kostin trade is, I've never really thought about that, but it's interesting that you were able to get something for Samorukov and wasn't very good in the NHL and doesn't play in the NHL, but you can't get anything for Puljujarvi, who has shown he can perform in the NHL. The struggle is obviously the consistency.
yeah,
And this is funny. So if you've been watching recently online, a lot of people have come out and said, as people are trying to give Holland, props for the
Holland
trade
deal, or the Kostin deal.
Yeah. People are coming, you can't say that because 2 days before that, he was on waivers.
Yeah.
Could have done for free. Well, guess what? In this case, if we picked him up that way, we put Samorukov on waivers, he probably leaves for free.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because he had to clear waivers to get sent down.
Yes.
And he was going to get sent down.
And he was not going to be ahead of Broberg, and he was not going to be ahead of Niemelainen. So there was a very good chance he was going on waivers for free too. So enough with this. Just enough.
The other thing is
Contract.
there's one, the
I was going
contract.
to say that too.
Yeah.
There's also the contract swap.
I don't know how many
You can
we're
only
at,
have 50 contracts. I think there was when I were at 45 or 46.
So we were probably still low at the time.
But actually I have their cap. I have the cap open right now.
They were kind of high.
Well, they're at 45.
Okay.
So if you wouldn't have moved out Samorukov, you're at 46. You make 2 deadline ads, you're at 48. You probably would have been fine.
But we were okay at the time. When it was
we're okay at the
under
time.
50, we're probably going to 50.
The other thing too, and people don't understand this, the value in acquiring a player who has just cleared waivers. Because if you
were
acquire
talking about
Klim Kostin before, or if you claim him off waivers and you want him to go down to Bakersfield, you have to put him on waivers. And then guess what? St. Louis might sit there and go, we're taking him right back.
Yep.
Or another team might sit there and go, shit, Edmonton actually likes this guy. We're taking him now.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw that with what's his name? The goalie. Remember that?
Anton Forsberg.
Forsberg.
Right. And then the other side of it, he clears. You trade for him after he clears. You can put him right in Bakersfield because at that point he is an AHL player. You acquired an AHL player. And let's be honest, Klim Kostin probably needed a couple months to get things going. He did not start well in Bakersfield at all.
I was surprised they called him up when he did. He was -8. He was barely playing. He wasn't scoring. I think all his points came in 1 or 2 games in his however many games he played down there. So but he's come up and proven literally all of us wrong. So
Well, one thing I just want to point out too, I love Klim as much as anybody. We're coming up with nicknames left, right, and center. Though I do recognize the guy shooting at 24% right now. So
But someone asked us actually, it'll obviously come down, but you look at where he's scoring goals.
he's scoring from nice spots.
They're all from besides the one on Saturday, that was just a nice goal, but just on a doorstep for all of them.
Yep.
So I think that's a massive positive for him. But yeah, on that, who really cares? Who cares? You got him. You got him.
You got him.
And
Exactly.
it worked. So
100%.
what does it matter?
Yeah.
Shall we take a guess on where Puljujarvi might go to?
Yeah, sure. Because
You know who I'm gonna
Did you just see something on your phone here?
No.
Are you searching?
I was just looking at the bottom teams and where he could go. So these are the bottom, however many here: Chicago, Columbus. I don't think he'll go there. Anaheim, Arizona, San Jose, Montreal, Vancouver, Ottawa, Philly. That's probably the group I would guess he would go to.
So of that group, my question is, who's the deepest in on analytics?
See, and I don't think it really comes
Carolina.
down to that. I think if he does get moved, it's going to be in a package to move money in that exact same trade. So they got, money coming in, money going out. So you need to go and actually look at who the Oilers are going to be bringing in. Yeah. So a team like Chicago with a Taves trade, maybe that's where he gets buckled into.
Maybe, yeah.
Right? I don't think he's just going to go to a bottom dweller for draft picks at that point. I think that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And besides, that draft pick's going to be higher than normal.
I think there's a couple of teams that you could eliminate just from the list. Columbus, they literally didn't draft him.
Costin has more goals than Johnny Gaudreau. Go ahead.
And Philadelphia, I just don't think Tortorella's going to want someone like Puljujarvi on his team.
He loves the iPad too, so that's not going to work.
Yeah, that's not going to help. So that leaves Ottawa, Vancouver, Montreal, San Jose, Arizona, Anaheim, and Chicago.
I was talking to my boy Quads in Vancouver. He's the editor at Canucks Army. He thinks that Vancouver could reasonably be a landing spot for him because they're clearly going into a rebuild, whether they know it or not. And this is a player that you could take a flyer on,
Yep. Ever since I tweeted that he is going to be a healthy scratch tonight, there have been fans from like 5 or 6 teams. I want him. Please, Don Waddell, go get this guy. Like other fans seem to have like a pretty high value on him, but this kind of happens whenever a player is rumored to be available.
Especially with that draft pedigree.
Yeah.
But it's also just looking at spreadsheets. Dude, there's not a person in this world that loves the guy more than I do. And I want to see him succeed. I want him see him succeed in this city. And I get it. All of his analytics are good or great or whatever, but it comes down to, at the end of the day, on ice production. And like I said, he's not putting them up offensively right now. Everybody knows that. But like I said, also, he's not giving up a lot of defensively either. So I honestly believe you ride it out. I do not see a reason to move him right now.
I think it's always funny too, because obviously there's two sides to the debate, but whenever he does score a goal, Twitter goes nuts in like a positive way. And everyone's like pumped to see him actually get a goal. So I think everyone's on Puljujarvi's side, but from like an actual just like team perspective, it's not worked at all this season. So I could see why the others would want to just move on. Also, I'll be scared to move on.
Who brings in a better value this season? Is it Fogle or is it Puljujarvi?
Puljujarvi brings you back more than Fogle.
Because Fogel's got the extra year too.
Yeah. And Puljujarvi still kind of, even though we don't see it that way, he still has a bit of that draft pedigree. A GM might sit there and be like, if I gave him top 6 minutes here, take the pressure off him, whatever, it could work here. I think Fogle, because of the extra year, even though he's slightly cheaper, he's a little older and he's lost that shine, right? He's not really viewed as much of a project. He's viewed as a bottom 6 guy, whereas Puljujarvi is bottom 6 guy, but also project who could be more. He's the mystery box.
I call him a middle 6 guy.
Yeah, middle 6 guy. That's a good way to put it. And yeah, Fogel's probably more of a traditional bottom 6 guy. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I think Anaheim makes a ton of sense for this guy. I think Arizona obviously makes a lot of sense for this guy, just as an organization who you could see wanting to take a chance on a guy with some skill. Those are the two that really jump off the page to me. And honestly, not a ton more. Like Montreal's a pressure cooker. I can't see
those teams giving up actual draft picks, or are they trying to go bad contract for quote unquote bad contract?
Yeah. I mean, Arizona has 2 third rounders this year and 4 next year. And in the next 3 drafts, they have 8 second rounders. Like I could see them going, we have all these picks. The problem with stockpiling picks like that is at some point you add all those prospects and there's no room. There's no room for them to play, right? So Arizona might sit there and be like, you know what? One of those seconds in 2025, one of which is the Oilers' second in 2025, one of those seconds and maybe the Oilers' third in 2024. Just give us back what we gave you for Zach Cassian and we'll give you Puljujarvi.
I hope, like, if this trade does go through, I legitimately hope he goes to a place where he can just fly under the radar a little
Arizona.
bit.
Yeah.
There's about 27 other team. Well, maybe that's a little high. 24 other teams in the league where he's going to feel like he's flying under the radar just because it's such a fishbowl in Edmonton and
100%.
Most likely most of Canada.
Yeah. So who knows if it's beginning of the end. I enjoyed watching him. I've always liked Puljujarvi. It's been frustrating. It hasn't been a smooth line, all that stuff. But
do you honestly think Holland will make that move knowing that Yamamoto's had this much injury issues going back on LTR right now? And if it is a shoulder situation, he's going back on right now when he was just off. That to me says the old Edmonton thing, the old Edmonton way, and shoulder surgery.
Yeah, it is getting a little worrying with Yamamoto now because that's
getting banged up a lot.
Twice this season he's been out, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and they still won't tell us. So I'm assuming that they're probably the same injury, right?
It's just weird they won't say anything other than upper body because,
It's hockey, man. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Annoying, but I mean, we can pretty much guess if that's what it was before. And most likely it's the same thing. There's not one play out there in the 1 or 2 games he played or whatever it was. And you're like, oh, there it is. Oh, there's something different. If he just disappears to the point where he's getting scratched and nobody saw it coming, well, I'm guessing it's flared back up again, whatever the issue is.
We'll see. It's going to be spicy around here if Puljujarvi is out tonight, which sounds like he is.
Do you think he deserves to be out? I don't know if he does.
I don't think he does, to be honest.
I think he's been playing better as of late. Yeah.
I don't think he does either.
I think it's weird timing for a healthy scratch for him. Unless
He
there's
literally
an underlying reason. Maybe you guys are correct and here comes the trade and they're trying to keep him healthy for another day or two. Or maybe, in the way the lineup is, they're trying to showcase one other guy. Like maybe someone needed to see Fogel play one more game or something like that, or Ryan or whatever the factor, the case may be. But he's definitely had worse games. So to do it right now is kind of weird timing.
I just think it's interesting because you look at this past week. So we had that fight against LA where he actually laid the big hit, which kind of initiated all that.
It was great.
I don't remember much from Anaheim, but I don't remember him being bad by any means.
He wasn't.
San Jose scored. And then against Vegas, I know he was -1, but I actually thought he played like a decent game. I know we kind of spoke about, can't remember if we spoke about it on the podcast, maybe off air, how Fogel looked better, but also maybe Fogel's bar was just so low that he looked irrelevant again. It just doesn't seem fair again that Puljujarvi's the sacrifice for this, but maybe it is. They're trying to showcase other guys.
I want to hear from you. We're taking a couple of guesses on what the return could be. We got picks everywhere. Rick says he's staying here. That's his guess. We'll see. I mean, not the way the story I wanted, not the way I wanted it to end. I mean, I was looking at my book today at some of the futures that I put down. I had him over 15 goals this year. Like, I thought that was a lock.
Yeah,
that hasn't gone. This season just hasn't gone his way in a lot of different ways. Yep. And it sucks because this is going to be another instance of the Oilers selling low on a guy. And the return's going to be poor. So if he picks it up somewhere else, this is going to be one that we hear about forever. So hit us up, Owen Radio Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. I'd love to hear from you. Just what you think. What do you think? Next up, I want to change gears a little bit because I got to give some love to our friends at AMA Travel for the nation vacation we just put on to Las Vegas. All 4 of us are in the room. So before we move on to the other Oilers news, let's just recap the trip real quick. We did it on Real Life yesterday. I want to start with Liam. This was the first time you got to go on one of these. So what was kind of like your first impression of your first nation vacation?
Well, the flight was awesome. Like there was a really good vibe on the flight and everyone started chanting when we started landing. So that kind of kicked it off in like a really fun way. And then I guess just to fast forward to the watch party itself, it was insane, to be honest. Like, wasn't
it awesome how many Oilers fans we got in that bar?
It was nuts. And just like, so it like bled out into like New York too. Yep. And like there was people in there and I walked to the bathroom and there was Oilers fans everywhere. Like it was just insane. Yeah. Many of us that we were like able to influence that, I suppose, in a way, and like get everyone in there. And then the vibes in there were nuts. So yeah, like all of that. And then the game itself, like security having to usher us out because we basically formed our own party in the lobby of T-Mobile and it bled out to outside and just all of it was just epic, to be honest. Like I'm looking into Toronto.
Oh, you gotta come. You gotta come. So just want to back up to the watch party real quick. When we showed up, we had a spot kind of roped off for our party of 50 that flew down there with us. Mm-hmm. And as we were getting there, the manager's just like, are you sure you need the whole 50? Like, are you sure? And we just kind of said as a group, buddy, we're going to fill this bar. And he goes, okay. Yeah. Okay, we'll see. And then as it got closer to puck drop, you could see him kind of looking around. He goes, they're going to fill the bar.
Tables are dropping like flies, dude. Like, I'm like, guys, where are you? I didn't know if Yaremchuk was going to table. I was trying to find Jay to get him a spot. Like, I'm like, guys, you need to get here because tables are going fast.
When we walked in, there was a group of Oilers fans kind of on the other side of the velvet rope. Yes. And I thought that was our party. And then as I'm looking at them, I'm like, I don't recognize any of these. They're from our trip anyway.
Well, I told him, I was like, yeah, we're with Oilers Nation. He's like, yeah, but I got 2 groups. Like, you can't have 2 groups under Oilers Nation. But I was like, okay, I'll drop Dan's name. And he's like, oh, looked, he's like, yeah, and gave us the, the empty side. So I don't like, everyone else just showed up. And I think they should use Oilers Nation. I mean, obviously we kept pushing it on social.
Yep. That's
what it was. I mean, it's all going forward. Whoever's listening to this, if you get a call from Big Dan and we're in town, you're gonna need some extra seats.
You might want to just remember we're gonna fill the bar.
And that dude said, like, usually at 6-7 o'clock at night, it is a ghost town in there.
Yeah,
nobody's in there, and we rammed it.
Rammed full.
It was a great spot. Like there was so many screens to watch from too. We picked the perfect bar to watch it at.
Yeah.
Tyler, you popped the romper out for the first time this season to the Vegas game on Saturday at T-Mobile. My favorite thing when you're wearing the outfit with the romper and the flag is I was watching you from afar and just kind of people that slide in for photos of you with that outfit on always makes me laugh.
Yeah, people are big fans of the romper, more so than probably they're fans of me as a person. But regardless, with great power comes great responsibility because the Oilers are like 8-1 or something crazy when I wear that outfit. And that's the first time this year I busted it out because I really wanted the Oilers to come through for us and keep the good vibes going down in Vegas. And they did that. They played great. The trips are always a good time, whether the Oilers win or lose. I think we all kind of know that. But something special about them going out behind enemy lines, getting a dub for us and us getting to really celebrate hard that night. Just nothing was killing our vibes.
2 wins back to back too. We got the watch party win. That place, we blew the roof off the place when McDavid scored to open the scoring. Did not calm down from there. Vegas, that game was a home game somehow.
Oh yeah.
It was, let's call it a neutral site because I think we eliminated the home ice advantage for Vegas.
When Matthias Janmark scored to open the scoring.
Vegas legend?
Vegas legend. Video. Still no tribute video.
Pete DeBoer got one, but not Matthias Janmark.
All right.
He was pissed.
Our boy from TLN, Leafs Nation, Nick Alberga, tweets at me, goes, what is going on in there? The cheer that came through the TV was immense after that goal. I was like, man, it's a home game in here. Oilers fans everywhere. And they split our group up. And I thought it was actually kind of funny as we were sitting there. We were in 5 sections as groups of 10 in 5 different sections. And I was like, well, that's kind of annoying. But then as you saw the orange jerseys around, I'm like, wow, that's not going to matter at all.
Yeah.
It's really not going to matter.
I wonder if that's a smart strategy. So you look at some, the only other sport I can think of where they try and do something like that is like European football, right? So and it's usually so they don't beat the shit out of each other.
Where they separate?
Yeah, so they have the away area or whatever.
And the line of police down both sides.
Yeah. So is it better to put all of them in one spot? Or is it better to like try and thin them out? But now they're all over and they're just going to take over the herd.
They're probably debating that right now. Like that was Monday morning's meeting. How do we avoid Oilers taking over this arena next time they come?
Yep. It really was incredible.
Yeah.
The whole scene, the whole weekend was great. And then I got to give a shout out to everybody on the Oilers Nation squad that was with us. We went to celebrate at Fremont Street after the watch party on Friday. What a dance party we had out there. We were really boogieing. Our boogie per 60 was sky high. Point of this is check out our socials, check out the recap articles on OilersNation.com. You need to come on these trips.
Weird question, but Liam,
yep.
Have you taken the elevator when you both days here? How's that going?
I'm now a proud member of the Stair Gang.
Wow. Congratulations.
I even walked down to the bathroom today. And it's 2 flights of stairs.
Good for you.
Yeah. I closed it out as well on the trip by going down the stairs at the airport when we returned to Edmonton. So I'm in it now.
I'm proud of you for doing that.
It was a lot. I won't lie. Especially mentally when in the morning I woke up and I walked across the street to the Target. And I looked at the escalator and I was like, no one's here. Like I could do this. And I said, no, Liam, you're taking the stairs. You're part of the stair gang now. And I took him up. And then
Attaboy.
when it rained in Vegas, they all closed. So there was no choice but to take the stairs.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you're already
So-
in the mix.
Didn't matter that by that time, my knees were already shot. I could barely walk anyway. So
Did anybody else put together their walking kilometers from the trip? I did 43 kilometers.
I didn't look actually.
And that was a very slow Sunday too. We didn't really move on Sunday.
No,
I didn't leave the hotel until we left as a team.
I will say I'm pretty sure I was down. I think I lost a pound or two. So if you were around and saw the alcohol consumption or French fry consumption by myself this weekend, it was quite high. I'm quite impressed with myself.
You know what else is impressive about me and you, Rick?
What's this?
We showed the kids how it's done again.
Oh, buddy, that's what we do.
We have a rule. We talked about this on Better Late Than Never. 1 before 10 or 10 before 1. I'm sure you've heard us talk about it before. Day 1, everybody was in the mix in the group chat. We're all in. We got in under the wire. The next day, we had Dan in early. We had Jay in. Me and Rick were in. Our boy Waz was in. Tyler, you slept right through the right through the game.
Yeah, I did. I didn't wake up till after 10 o'clock. So, and then when I did wake up, I was like, shit, I got to do a live show right away. I need to get going.
What time did we do our show that day? Or what time did we did a show?
12:30. That was my show.
Oh, it was yours. 12:30. So 12:30, we peer pressured you to have a beverage.
And you saw it didn't go well.
No, it was a
No,
struggle.
you were. It was a battle to get that one down. It was like when we were watching football.
Getting it down wasn't that big of an issue. It was keeping it down, I think, is what the struggle was.
A couple hot burps, if you know what I mean.
I think on Sunday, as we were watching football, just kind of hanging out in a sports book, it took me about 2 hours to get through a Bud Light.
Man, Bud Lights are like water.
Yeah, they were sippers.
So we'll just close it out real quick.
When the goat brought the peanut butter
Yeah,
whiskey, those are actually pretty good.
Because you know what? I finished that and I'm like, oh, I could see
told you,
myself
man,
starting to get going again.
Yeah, it's the painkiller.
Motors rolling.
The point here is check out all the social posts we put up. There was a ton of them. Check out all the articles. Check out all the videos that are coming out. Check out episodes of the podcast when we were down there. Get yourself to Toronto with us. Nationgear.ca, our friends at AMA Travel put together another trip. We're going in March. You need to be there.
I have one last thing. So in the last episode, may have seemed like I had a few with the way things were going, but I was just having that much fun that I didn't even need a drink to have that much fun on the show. So that's my last point on the nation.
Was that just the
vacation.
weird glasses? Is that
That was the weird glasses.
when Kennedy taped you for like an hour and a half?
Yeah, the immigrant song to kick off the show.
That was great.
The buttons not working because I forgot to turn them on.
No, they were
everything.
on. The volume was down, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh well.
You know what? Sometimes you Vegas and sometimes you Vegas too much.
Hey, let's just be proud we didn't have to take down any episodes.
Yep.
I was part of a podcast once that we had to take down a little while after.
Also, shout out to the lost episode of Better Late Than Never. It's out there. It's on Tyler's computer. We can play it right now. We won't do it.
Don't forget about Cabana Boys. That one got taken down too.
Oh yeah, Cabana Boys was sloppy.
That was tarps off.
Oh,
that
boy.
was a tarps off episode.
Oh, that's big.
Yeah, ask Kuma about it next time you see him.
Nation vacation. Find your way onto one. I promise you're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
What are the dates for Toronto?
March 10th to 12th, I believe. I will confirm for you, Liam.
March 10th to 12th. All right.
March 10th to 12th. I nailed it.
There you go.
I nailed it. And that is a Hockey Night in Canada edition too. Just like this past weekend.
Think how mad the Leafs fans will be when we're in, what's their arena called again?
Scotiabank Center.
Scotiabank Center in their lobby. Give it to them.
Yeah.
They're going to hate that.
Speaking of the lobby thing, we talked about this on Real Life yesterday. We're going to mention it real quick now, and then we're going to wrap up the Vegas trip talk. The shame chant that a lot of you were real upset about, there's context to that.
Yes.
Yes.
Our boy Captain Felton rewatched the game yesterday. He was with us. After every penalty an away team takes, the crowd chants shame, shame, shame. Captain Felton discovered that they cut to commercial. You didn't hear that chant at the arena. So after the game was over, Oilers fans were just giving it right back to them. And Vegas fans were laughing too.
I was going to say, when you watch the video and you look at the people coming down the stairs, they're literally laughing, and some of them are laughing and give it right back.
They have some,
It was
they have
all
some
good vibes.
fun fan interaction that we don't normally have. So, I mean, didn't like that, you definitely wouldn't have liked me in Nashville, because the same thing. They have some fan interaction there when, you yell back to the announcer and whatnot and stuff. And we were up 4-0. I lost my voice yelling at absolutely everybody in that one. So it's just fun, man.
I mean, they wouldn't have liked you on Saturday either.
That's fair. The guy with the sword and the sword and the shield. Yeah, he didn't like me very
Our
much.
section was fun. It was Rick, Tyler, and I, and we were just like, at one point I was running up and down the stairs. Like, we were having fun.
My section was really good too. There was like all the Vegas fans were having a good time with the Oilers fans. They were a little confused by the soup chant that we kept going every time we made a save.
It's a quick explanation.
Yeah, so that was good. And then there was a lady in front of me who was a Chargers fan who was watching the game.
So
she was having a bad time.
And then the guy next to me said, well, you'll be crying after your second team loses tonight. So she liked that too. So it was all in good spirits, everything.
Those games are fun though. So
They were.
Honestly, obviously I'm pretty loud and I like to have some fun. This stuff just kind of like comes out of my, there's no pre-thought at all. That just pops out.
We had fun yelling.
I think it's fun.
Yeah.
My voice, as you can probably hear right now, is still recovering.
The gentleman behind me asked me how Evander Kane was doing. So they care. They really care.
That's nice.
AMA Travel, thank you for putting it together. I appreciate you. We all do. You made life so much easier for us. Can't wait to do it again in Toronto. Liam mentioned Evander Kane, so let's talk about him. The big man is back. Whoop, whoop. Again, we're going to plug the real life interview we did with him. Was that 2 weeks ago now?
Yep. He did say
he said he wanted to be back sooner than expected. Well, our man's is back, and we didn't try to LTIR him because it turns out you weren't allowed to anyway. Tyler, what's your take on Kane coming back and the moves to get him available? So Niemelainen got returned to Bakersfield, Yamo and Murray to the LTIR.
Yeah. Well, we can dissect it kind of a piece at a time here. Kane being back. It goes without saying this is a big boost. This is a guy who, since he joined the Oilers, basically scores a goal every second game. This season had 13 points in 14 games. Looked like before he got hurt that he was starting to find his form once again. So hopefully he slides in and is exactly what the Oilers need from him. A guy who scores a lot and a guy who gives them some swagger and some jam. I would imagine early on, it might be hard for him to get going from this kind of injury, and it might be tough for him to get back in the swing of things fully. Might even be some nerves for him to like go play physically and even rip the puck as hard as he can. Because like Kane admitted, he's not at 100% right now. But what I'm kind of irritated about is the group of people who are like, Oilers rushing a player back from an injury again.
You could listen to our interview when he tells you exactly what's happening.
Yeah. Like he mentioned the nerves, it'll take a long time.
They told him it could take 6 months to a year to maybe longer.
Yeah, to maybe longer for the nerves to come back in every part of kind of his hand, I guess, more or less. So guess what? If you wait for this guy to be 100%, it might not ever happen. He might not ever get feeling back in some parts. Like that stuff can happen with nerve damage.
That also may not even affect his game.
And that too, the only thing that matters, it's not 100%, 90%, 80%, it's risk of re-injury. And if the doctors sit there and he passes all their strength tests, okay, check one. And if the doctors sit there and go, there is little chance you can make this worse or re-injure it just by playing the game. Obviously, freak accidents can always happen, right? That's how this started. But like, you cannot make this worse by just playing the game. Then you put him back. People online acting like Ken Holland went down to the room, looked at Evander Kane and was like, you're in tonight. And Kane was like, I can't.
Yeah.
Too bad. You're in. Like, it's embarrassing. Like, come on.
He literally told us in this room he was coming back as soon as he possibly could.
Yeah.
Didn't he also say that like he had previous injuries with like other teams and he came back soon?
He's always a quick healer.
He's like worked hard to get back. Like this is an Evander Kane decision, I would assume, right? Like it's kind of like when Draisaitl and Nurse were hurt in the playoffs. Like those guys wanted to sit out a game, then they get that call. These are grown adults. Like there's obviously you need doctors and all that kind of stuff, but like they make their own decisions essentially.
Yeah,
and they're getting cleared by the doctors.
The thing for me is cleared by doctors. If Kane wanted to come back and the doctors were like, no,
for sure.
And the Oilers were like, yeah, let him play. Like that would be weird. But like if Kane wants to play and says he feels good enough to contribute, if the doctors say he can't be re-injured and he's good to play and he's strong enough, why would the Oilers be like, well,
we don't want this guy in the lineup.
Yeah, maybe we should wait. Stupid.
Well, how about him starting on the third line?
I was going to say, have we seen lines yet for today? I know we saw who was skating yesterday and he was down there.
He was with McLeod and Fogle.
Okay.
I think third line makes sense.
inch him into it because he's not getting he hasn't played in 2.5 months.
31 games he's missed, which was nuts to think about, to be honest.
Who's the second line then?
Costin, Nuge, Janmark.
Right.
And then top line is obviously the big.
And then the fourth line tonight will be Holloway and Ryan with a different player sorted through.
Yeah, because they're going 11-7 today, I would imagine.
So which would also indicate to me that Kane's going to get shifts with McDavid at some point.
Of course he is.
Oh, 100%.
It makes total sense to me to ease him in.
Me too.
He's going to be rusty.
Yeah. But also we thought that, and didn't he score in his first goal?
He did.
Against Montreal?
He did.
But he did say he was like skating in quicksand too or whatever, right? So
it's going to take him a minute to get back up to speed. To me, I'm just, even having him inching along as he gets back up to speed, having his competitiveness, the fire, the swag he brings into the lineup, I think that he's coming in at a really good time because the Oilers are starting to kind of look like they're playing a little bit more for each other.
And it's a big part of that. And it ties into something you said about this whole Kane thing. Marcus Niemelainen goes down. Vinny Desharnais stays up. And you want to talk about playing with some swagger and some character and things like that. Vinny Desharnais does that. And I'll give Tom Gazzola credit for throwing all of this together today when I was listening to him talk about it. But in that game against Vegas, he went after Keegan Colasar late in the game after Keegan Colasar hit Draisaitl earlier in the game. And Desharnais talked about it and said, I went up to him and said, you don't do that, more or less. I'm kind of paraphrasing, like, don't touch the stars. I don't like that hit. And Colasar, I guess, said it's too late in the game to do anything about it. But Desharnais waited the entire game and said he was thinking about it the whole time. If I'm on the ice with that guy, I'm getting at him.
Do we have video of this?
wasn't that, I think that was when he grabbed that guy in front of the net, right? Yeah. Like I remember that. I didn't know who it was or why, but.
Well, if you remember this, sir, I think your BBP was a little low.
My BBP?
BBP. BBP.
Beers per period.
Beers per period.
I didn't.
Couldn't take on an extra mortgage. Yeah. That too, you didn't bring cash.
It was full price Saturday at T-Mobile, I'll tell you.
And only on credit.
I am going to say, though, I don't know how stoked I would be to see the big fella fight right now. His preseason and training camp was hampered by a hand injury.
Yep.
And then re-injured it. Like, I get it. Like, the fact he's out there doing that shit, man, I'm all about it.
I'll take him shaking a guy, though.
He's a big dude.
Yes.
And with the bald head and the little mustache thing, he looks like a villain.
A super villain.
So
we need that.
Oh, buddy. But he's the nicest guy out there.
I also love that he was drinking a little glass of red wine on the way back, just enjoying the moment.
Yeah.
The red wine lifestyle lives on.
Well,
do you think it came from a skin, like a wine skin?
Oh yeah.
Like,
He's
hey,
pouring
guys,
it right in his mouth.
Sir, can I get you no, you know what? I came prepared. I have this right here. Can I just get a cup, please? And there you go. Puts the music in, closes his eyes, and does.
I loved that. I loved it.
There was a story about Desharnais too, how not so long, I don't have a timeline on this, but like he was contemplating quitting hockey to like just take up his business degree that he got at Providence. And he was drafted in 2016, but he was also passed up twice.
I mean, when you're a 7th round pick and, 2016, so I mean, what is he, 26? I get 23, 24, when you don't really have a direct line to the NHL, I give the guys a lot of credit for still playing like that.
And Niemelainen too, to his credit as well. Like he obviously didn't go the college route, but he was 25 when he made his NHL debut too, right? Sometimes it just takes longer, and don't give up on these guys.
I love a 7th round pick. I don't care how many games he plays, making it all the way to the show. Mm-hmm. That's impressive. It takes a lot of work to get.
He's got a bit of a career ahead of him now.
I'd be curious to see the list of 7th rounders that have played for the Oilers. I can't think of any other one from recent memory.
I'm actually just going to go pull up that draft and see who were the guys late there who have even played games, because he's a 7th rounder. So there was a centerman, Calvin Thurkoff, who's also played 3 games now, but hasn't played in 3 seasons. So just got into a couple of random ones. Jeremy Davies is a D-man. He's played 23, and Joachim Blichfield. So he is one of only 5 players from that last round to ever even play a game.
Who did the Oilers take in the 6th round, out of curiosity? Just to see who they,
Apelli Rasanen, a centerman.
Oh yeah.
And you want to know
around though?
Yeah, he's still kind of kicking. He's playing college.
He's under the 50-man contract.
Plays in Finland.
Oh yeah, he plays in Finland.
Yeah.
We have his rights and stuff, right?
But ready to hear 2 guys who went within 10 picks of the Oilers taking up Apelli Rasanen.
Here we go.
Oh no.
Brandon Hagel and Jesper Bratt.
Oh, this would have been nice.
Fuck did Jesper Bratt go that late?
Speaking of former Oiler draft picks, you see Konovalov scored today?
Yeah, I did in the KHL.
I saw the video. I didn't watch it. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Oh, it was Hollywood. Yeah, it was Holloway who posted it.
Yeah.
Holloway posted it?
Yeah, I saw it on his.
Dylan
I think it was
Holloway?
him. I think so. I'd have to double check, but I think so.
Oh.
Former teammates.
Yes.
Maybe that brings Konovalov back one day.
Maybe.
Dude,
Oilers need some depth scoring.
As much as I love that, I do believe Nation fan Rodriguez having a good pretty good season. So I think if we could have two drafted goaltenders we can bring up through the system after a 20 years, 30 years of not having one.
Shout out to the Bakersfield goalie coach, which I believe is Rodriguez's dad.
It is.
I was also going to give some big credit to me and Tyler, as it seemed like things really started to turn around after he took that picture with us in LA.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can't say he didn't.
Nice guy.
Can't
Quiet.
say
He did say, I think I wrote an article about this too. He said he needed to find a place to stay consistently to find his game again. Because if you look back at the last basically since he turned pro, he's gone up and down. He was also on the Oilers Black Aces squad
During the COVID or whatever.
So he wasn't playing, and he also played in Austria for a year, or during when COVID shut the leagues down. So this guy was basically living out of a suitcase for almost 2 years. And you expect him to perform. Now he's obviously found his role in Bakersfield, and hopefully, that's just another guy they can. We went through
a couple of years like that where we didn't have an AHL team actually at all.
Yeah.
And didn't really help our goaltending situation at all.
I remember
Doobie.
I was going to say Devin Dubnyk played for the Penguins farm team, and he didn't play because
they're no, we want to play our goaltender.
Yeah.
All right.
How was that a thing that they didn't have an AHL team? I don't remember the story of how that happened.
I just think it's weird that why wouldn't every single team just have one?
Well, I think there's just your deal ended there, didn't quite have one. So then you put together one for a year from now. So you had 1 year where I think, but I don't really remember. We may have actually gone 2 years without one, but
because you can loan players.
Yeah.
In the American League.
Yeah.
To different programs.
That's what happened with Sheldon Surrey. He was loaned to the Hershey Bears.
That's true.
Yes.
That's another situation.
Another situation the Oilers did really well.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, away she goes.
A decade of darkness was on and off the ice.
Mm-hmm.
Who else was in the Kane thing then? Niemelainen.
Yeah, Niemelainen went down.
He needed to go down.
He did, yep.
He needed to play more and find because originally when they sent him down, they said he needed to handle the puck a little bit better. And I think our boy Bruce said he wasn't, and the Oilers called him up anyway.
Yeah, but I think there's the left side, right side thing. They didn't want to go right to Desharnais. But there was Broberg wasn't looking as good as Broberg is right now. That's
what it was. Broberg was still down there, but they called up Niemelainen and then they called up Broberg after. And then Yamamoto, I guess we don't really know.
And then Ryan Murray onto LTIR.
Oh, yeah.
So Murray and Yamo on LTIR. I'm kind of worried about Yamo.
Yeah.
This is why I said, I don't know if you might have to be looking at a right winger this deadline rather than that centerman, that defensive centerman.
Yeah. It's just, and it bums me out too, because he was starting to pick up his play.
Yeah, he looked like he was starting to figure it out. The thing that I'll go back to with the deadline ads is if you just go get a good, strong centerman, Taves, Horvat, whoever, McLeod can play on the wing, Nuge can play on the wing, Hyman and Kane can kind of flip-flop to either side. If Fogle happens to still be here, he can flip-flop to either side. You give yourself so much added line versatility if you go get another centerman.
But we are heavy left-handed shots.
Yeah, you do probably need to get someone who shoots right.
If Puljujarvi goes, and let's say Yam's down a little longer, is your only forward shooting right Derek Ryan?
Hyman.
Oh, Hyman. Yeah. So you have the top and the bottom, but nothing in the middle.
Yeah, Jonathan Taves shoots left.
Isn't the Bo Horvat rumors are kind of nuts to me. How did that just kind of came out of absolute nowhere?
But Horvat's going to look good on every top end team in the league. So yes, he'll fit in there.
Well, it was the tag on by Merrick that really kind of kicked it off.
And that's what irritated me is because he was like, part of the reason the Oilers would be a good fit for him. He added Horvat could fit in there long term. And you don't know what's going to happen with Draisaitl in a couple of years. And it was just like, are we please, the Oilers are focused on winning a Stanley Cup with Leon Draisaitl. They are not worried about building a good team if Draisaitl leaves in 2 years. If Draisaitl was UFA at the end of next season, I'd give this an ounce of a thought. If we were talking a year from now, Oilers haven't won a cup and they're still looking to fix a bunch of problems, I'd be like, you know what? Maybe you do go get a long-term fit just in case. Or if it was Draisaitl's final year, I'd even be like, you go get Horvat, sure, or a guy like that. And that case, you at least have a guy sitting there in case you don't get a deal done. But right now, it's silly to have this conversation. I really like Jeff Marek, and this isn't me like discrediting his reporting at all. I just think it's a little silly for us to be having the conversation of like, do they need a contingency plan for if one of the big guys leaves? Because we're way too early on.
I think it's so irrelevant. Like, there's obviously no conversations because it's on nobody's mind. Like, it doesn't need to be brought up because it doesn't matter.
Because the Oilers are spinning a little bit.
It's just for clicks and conversation.
It was
right?
just so weird that he threw that in there.
Do you guys honestly think, like, I could see this media just throwing things out in the Edmonton universe just to see the shitstorm they get started up because the fans are so reactive?
100%.
Passionate.
100%.
Well, you got to think these guys are just laughing, sitting in their studio or whatever. And go, hey guys, watch this, and just tweet something out there and just watch the actual shitstorm that happens.
Yeah, maybe 100%. That's it. Well, whatever they did, good job, Jeff. You're to making us talk about it. But Bo Horvat would be great. Like just for his cap value, like that's something you can actually work with. It's 5.25. Like
now it is.
Yeah, and I mean, like, if we just get him for a rental, like, I really don't care. Like, he's going to make this team better. Like, we spoke about it on the live show yesterday, and people were like, do we need Horvat? It's like, if someone like that is, like, available for you, then, yeah, you probably should grab him. If you can get him at a reasonable deal. Like, he's not going to harm your team in any way, right? Like, it's just weird how that was, like, the guy people were like, I'm not sure. I think, what does he have, like, 29 goals this year?
I know when I say that, I talk about more of like, hey, I think our places of need are different types of players. Sure. Like a guy like Horvat, can he go down and play that fourth line role that you're going to need? He's going to have to play 11 minutes a game now. He's not going to get his normal, whatever he normally gets, right? So it affects some players, but if you just meant that Bo Horvat's not good enough to be on this team, well, then that's silly.
Yeah.
But for me though, the other thing, and I talked about this on the show. If you it was in a TikTok Waz asked me to film. We do a lot of content around here.
Tyler did the nay in it as well.
Go check it out. Wow. Oilers Nation on TikTok.
Did you whip or did you just nay?
He wasn't paying attention.
The idea, if you go get Horvat or if you go get Taves, you almost at that point can play 29 and 97 together full time. And
wouldn't that upset you?
No.
I know.
The only reason I don't like it is because you don't have the depth for it right now. Like tonight, I still don't love it, but I understand you're easing Kane into it. You don't want to put him with a big gun. That makes sense. But if you could run McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman, and your second line at that point is whichever one of Yamo or Puljujarvi are still here with Horvat and Kane, that's like Taves and Kane.
Yeah.
Taves has been pretty good in his career with a guy named Kane on his line. Mm-hmm. So maybe that transfers over.
Just get both.
Right? Yeah. The logic.
Feeling
hot. Is it faded up?
It is faded up.
That's so good.
There's ways for the Oilers to get Horvat if they actually want him, and the cap is friendly enough for them that it's very doable.
Yep.
For our friends at Tourism Jasper, I want to tell you about the 2023 Jasper Pond Hockey Tournament that will be hosted at the beautiful Jasper Park Lodge from January 27th to the 29th. That is in 2 weeks' time. You need to be there. Join me, Tyler, and the rest of the Oilers Nation gang as we do a watch party on Saturday as Edmonton takes on Chicago. Sign up your team for an incredible weekend of hockey on a pond with us and many other special events. Visit chehockey.com for more information and to register your team. Frank Saravalli will be there. You'll be hosting a hot stove. Tyler might be in the hot stove too.
I might be hosting the hot stove and teeing up Frank Saravalli and the barn burner guys. I don't know.
We'll see. Either way, come stare at Tyler with me. It's very fun.
Be good. Yep.
Very fun. I want to talk a little bit about the game tonight against the Kraken. Looking through a couple of things. Campbell getting another start. I want to start there. Makes sense to me.
I think it makes sense from a human element too.
Yep.
For Skinner. He's a newborn baby. Jay said, if anyone in this office would know, it'd be Jay what it's like having a newborn baby. So he said, like, the first few nights are exhausting. Would it, like, I was kind of looking at the schedule, like, would it be surprising if he didn't start against Tampa too and his first start was against Vancouver on Saturday because that's on the road? kind of like a night away. Like, I don't know. I was just kind of thinking about that.
No, I think you got to get him in there. You don't want him to sit out too long, right?
That'll be close to. That'll be 2 weeks, right?
Almost 2 weeks. So his start would have been LA, and he didn't play the full game.
Yeah.
So maybe.
No, they said he had a really big practice yesterday. Took a lot of shots. Was out there a long time. So most likely not in tonight. But I'd see him being.
He's probably
go-to on Thursday.
And also doing the game day routine again today, even though he's not starting. Right? You get ready. You get prepared. You go for warm-ups. You're on the bench. You're back in the jive again. You know, it makes sense to go with Campbell tonight. I understand the logic at least.
There's probably an option for Skinner to maybe even just like stay in a hotel Thursday, Wednesday.
Well, I mean, night? He's got 37 siblings. He can just swap houses.
He did say his wife has been good at making sure he like gets his sleep and stuff, which that kind of goes without saying that happens.
Yeah.
And to Jack Campbell's credit, he's won his last 4 starts.
He's deserved this. He deserves to play.
Like, 900 save percentage in 3 straight, 900 or better.
So I thought he was, and then, we were all talking about it when we were in Vegas. We're like, you're not really going to start Pickard, are you? Like, can't start Pickard, are you?
Chance.
Campbell came in and performed well. I mean, there was that one goal where he was kind of yard sailing all over, but like I also had a major problem with the defense on that play.
Yeah.
I think he deserves it.
Talk to a goaltender though. Like at what point is a goalie, is it easier to like flop around and try and get side
100%.
to side or stop, get up and the puck's now like, 2-3 feet away from you and you're not covering that instead of, just being laying on the ground. Like that's
a good point too. Cause I rewatched it a couple of times the next day and it's not like there was a quiet point in the scramble where he could have just reset
stay
himself.
down. This is not a Mike Smith thing where, his knee was bugging him and he's like, I'm just going to stay here. Well, dude, the puck's out of the zone. You can get up. He's like, no, I'll be right here.
And the goal actually went in. The shot actually went in was a bit of a greasy one.
It was from behind the goal line, was it not?
Like that was actually just probably a good heads up play from the forward.
That was a good bounce.
Just knock it in.
Connor does that. We love it. We don't blame it on their goaltender. It happens against us right away. We want to blame it on our goaltender. Like you can't have one and the other.
I would think on that play too, like I'm trying to run it in my head. I can't remember it fully, but like as the defenders in the play, like as a whole group, like you've probably got to take one for your goalie there.
I think
like do something to help him out. He's on the floor. Like,
I feel like there's sometimes those scrambles. We need to stop trying to grab control of the puck and just start swinging, boys.
Flatten somebody. That's what I wanted.
Swing at the puck. Swing at the puck.
If you ice it, who cares? At least you can reorganize yourself.
Like, whatever. Just swing it. Get the damn thing away from us.
Yeah.
I feel there's too many times where we
Box
try and
out.
It was like Liam when he was drinking that massive beer at the watch party. He had elbows like this, 3 chairs beside him, each side. They got knocked out.
Yeah.
I held mine up when I first got one of those. I held it up over my head. So I was like, I won the Briar.
I won.
Yeah. No, you won earlier because you got an extra 4 ounces for even money.
Well, that's because
they were out of the glassware. And
that's because I'm a businessman.
Yeah, Liam was rattled at that point.
Real quick story. Yeah. So what that was is they ran out of these 40-ounce beer glasses. So the guy comes up to me. He's like, is it okay if I give you 2 22-ounce pints? I'm like, you know what? It's a hell of a deal.
I think you did that twice. You're up 8 ounces of draft.
I am the businessman.
I'm a businessman.
Exactly. Tyler.
It's time.
Almost.
I'm so nervous.
What else do you got to say about the Seattle Kraken?
Their special teams are terrible. Their forward group is deep. Their blue line is okay. Their goaltending is terrible.
So last time the Oilers played the Kraken, they lost 5-2. That's because the Oilers really only played about 23 minutes. Just quick keys to victory. What do you guys have on Oilers Nation every day?
I said they have to start early, get in the game early and don't chase. Like you chased against the Kings and it went terribly for you. You got ahead against Vegas and Anaheim too, and then San Jose to an extent. And then you dictate what actually happens. Just you got to play his 60 minutes. And Jones, to his credit, he's not been good most of the season, but this last little run, he's been pretty decent. He shut out the Bruins on the road. So yeah, just try and get on top of them early. Because last time you did that against Seattle, it went very, very well for you.
Very, very well. Tyler?
Yeah, Martin Jones has been either Vezina or terrible.
Yeah.
Gave up 5 goals to the Hawks, shut out the Bruins, shut out the Habs, gave up 4 goals on 23 to the Sens. I agree to the Liam that you got to get in the game early just because, again, this Seattle team's so deep that if you go down early, they're just going to roll 4 lines and dump and chase you into the end boards every shift. And
exactly what the Kings did to us.
It'll be like skating in quicksand. You just won't really come back. But the other thing for me was survive at 5-on-5 and thrive on the special teams. Seattle is junk on the PK. Since December 1st, their power play is running at 13%. dominate them with the special teams, and then just play even at 5-on-5.
So then here's another thing. I'm just going to tag onto that. Don't let them off the mat on the power play then.
Mm-hmm.
Like special teams win has got to be a key to the victory.
Didn't they do a pretty good, how many power plays did they give up against Vegas? 2 or 3?
3, I think.
I felt like they did a fairly decent job of staying out of the box, but that wasn't like we didn't get a lot of power plays either. But quickly, sorry, Rick, will they honor Jordan Eberle tonight? 900 games. He just
I could see them giving an acknowledgement.
Because they just did it to Gagne, but that was 1,000 games. But I would imagine they do something.
900 is no joke.
Oh no!
And most of those we looked at the table. Remember, we're at the Park MGM. Most of them were here.
I think it was something like that. Yeah.
Rick, what do you got for a key to victory?
Look, they've been playing well the last 3 games. I think they just got to come out, keep playing their game. They're getting Evander Kane back in the lineup, which is going to be a huge boost on the ice, on the bench, in the room. There's no reason to think that you can't beat this team. Just come out and play your game and we'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Last thing I want to touch on before we move on is just for our friends at Betway. Tyler, what are you feeling tonight? What were the bets of the day for you as I pulled mine up?
I tailed Liam. I like the Draisaitl shot prop. He tends to shoot more when he's on McDavid's wing versus when he's centering his own line. So I think the Draisaitl shot prop is
What's the number?
3.5. Paying what, Liam?
Plus 115.
It's a nice spot.
Yeah, that's why we got Hyman out on Saturday too, and that hit nicely.
And I think I'll go puck line. This Seattle team could be a little worn down tonight.
I was thinking about puck line too. What was it? They've been on the road for 7 straight games.
And then they went home for 1, which was last night, and lost to the Lightning. So they got to turn around and fly back to Edmonton after only being home for like 1 night.
We're jumping on that then.
I know our weekend was a little bit different, but I always forget how exhausting a travel day can truly be.
Yes.
So
especially like at the end.
Yeah.
We should ask Koom about that when he's done his 37 flight home from Brazil trip.
He's got I think if I remember right, is 6 or 7 legs on his flight home from Brazil.
Yeah, I only had 2 legs.
Liam, what do you have?
I had that one to try set a 1. And then I also took a little parlay.
Oh, would it be power play and empty net goals?
Bingo. But I mean, that was just a lock and load that one every night.
That's the 4-2.
Hasn't hit in like 6
It is 4-2, yeah.
But
that's your 4-2.
Yeah, mine's 5-3 power play goal empty net. I've kind of locked on that one.
I've got Connor, and they're playing together. So Connor and Leon both to score at plus 250.
Yeah, sorry. The other one I had was the Oilers to win and McDavid to score 2 points, which is only plus 125. But if you want a little bit more, then Draisaitl with the same one is plus 190. So pick your poison.
There you go. Tyler, now it's time.
Yes.
Now it's time.
Okay.
What is the order and how are we doing? Tyler's signature segment that he's been working on all day, word association.
We'll flip from what we did last week. So we'll go bag milk, Liam, Rick.
All right.
Okay. A couple different ways I'm going to go with this one. We're going to start with 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I have a couple of trade proposals that Sportsnet threw together on their site today. It came from Jason Bukala, who was a former NHL scout. He did a full deep dive on the Oilers roster and then put 2 trades they should make before the deadline.
Well, I'm excited for that.
Cool. So I'll give you those, but we're also going to do a couple other ones before. So one word for our time in Vegas.
Unreal.
Epic.
Profitable.
Hey.
Not profitable. The plane ride home from Vegas.
Quiet.
Bouncy.
Not bad.
Vibless.
I was so mad at you,
You should be.
in a spiritual way, of course.
I just want to know. So when I texted you, I was in the car. Where were you guys at that point?
I was just getting into the customs line.
Yes. So it was worth $11.
Rick paid $11 to upgrade and sit at the front of the plane. It was unreal.
I walked by him on the way all the way to the caboose and I'm just sitting there watching. And then deplaning on that one took forever as well. So I was just I hate Rick so much right now.
Connor McDavid's idea of no shootouts and just going 10 minutes of 3-on-3.
Please.
Yeah.
Correct.
I didn't see that.
Music to my ears.
It's just, after you go through a 3-on-3, having it go to a shootout is so anticlimactic.
Yeah.
It's so boring.
I will say, I know everyone's getting bored. We did 2-on-2 and 1. I am not for 2-on-2 or 1.
No,
I think it should actually just be no time and just continuous overtime.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because then we've seen it a few times where they literally just do keep away.
I think that would happen a lot if you took the clock out of it too, though.
But then
you're only keeping it like you're not keeping it away for the clock to go anywhere.
That's fair.
You're keeping it away for Leon and Connor to go off it. Yeah. And I don't know if anyone does it besides against us.
Yeah, fair.
Well, and also just like if you extend the 3-on-3, you're going to get matchups that you just don't want or you do want. You know, it's going to create some chaos.
Yeah. Puljujarvi being scratched.
It hurts.
Unfair.
Disappointing.
Understandable, I think is my word. I mean, everyone else has kind of taken their turn.
Yeah, I think that's fair as
Even
well.
though we just talked about the timing, the timing was there, but yeah.
Yeah. All right. Here are the two trades from Sportsnet. Edmonton trades a lottery protected 2023 first round pick, Jesse Puljujarvi, and a 2024 fifth round pick in exchange for Joel Edmondson at $500,000 retained. So the Caps are a wash, and a sixth round pick. So a first, a fifth, and Puljujarvi for Edmondson and a sixth.
What's his contract going forward?
$3 million with one more year on it.
Edmondson's not my guy.
I say no.
I say no.
Overpay.
Yeah. Big time.
Yeah. Overpay. If we have what we have in Desharnais, I just don't think you need that.
Yeah,
you got four guys down that right side where you're secure.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if Edmondson didn't have a year left in his contract, I might be on that a little bit more.
Me too.
Yeah.
Just put Desharnais down for the rest, and then play there.
Yeah. And like Edmondson, I'm not saying he's not a bad player, but I just hate the idea of restricting ourselves even more next season.
Yeah, I like 11 and 7 with the extra right hand. So.
Edmonton trades a 2023 third and a 2025 third, so 2/3 for Luke Shen at 50% retained.
Is he at like 1.5?
He's at 850, so I think he would be down at 425.
He's a righty too, hey?
Yeah, he's a righty. Leads the league in hits. Yes or no?
I'm going no on that trade. I think if you're moving those moves, you can do somewhere else. I just don't. The right side right now is fine.
I might do it because he's got some rings.
Yeah, I might do it too. I'm kind of torn on it. I feel like 2/3 might be a bit much.
Yeah, a bit much is my answer.
But if I was doing like a third and a fifth, maybe I just keep thinking of the Kulak one. I know you had to give up a player, but the picks were a second and a conditional seventh.
I just feel like you can move that third for maybe a little bit better of a fourth line player.
Yeah, it's a little bit rich.
Yeah.
But I would like to have a couple more rings in the room going down the stretch.
Do you know what? Actually, I would do it. I would be in on it because of the idea, like he blocks shots, he hits, he can play on UPK. He's essentially Chris Russell. No.
Yeah.
And we've just talked about how we miss Chris Russell.
Yeah, that is true.
And if you get him at like $400K,
they're cheap.
Yeah.
That is nothing.
We were missing Chris Russell when we were playing bad defensively, 5-man system in our own end. And we just wanted some other guys like all these terrible shots we're giving up. Like, someone throw a body part out there. That's kind of where you wanted him, right? So
that's where I miss from Chris Russell is the willingness to throw his face in front of a shot. Yeah. You know what I mean?
But then when he does it and CBC Sportsnet or somebody like look at Chris Russell and all the shots, all anyone does is goes, they tear it down.
It was always, what was it? Oh, he always blocks so many shots so they can't get the puck out of his zone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
something
you
like
can't
that, right?
block the shot unless you don't have the puck. Or doesn't have the puck, right? So I get where that stuff is, but when we had it, we didn't like it anyway. So
I made a video on Chris Russell once.
The hype vid.
The hype video on Chris Russell. I think there's always that thing, and it's similar to Evander Kane as well, where you want that toughness in your lineup. Evander Kane's going to bring that swagger to it, and everyone else is kind of going to feed off that a little bit. Like if you're a guy every night who's blocking 2 or 3 shots, like I think that kind of feeds through it as well.
It just helps everybody. Everybody sees one guy and that guy goes out and does it.
Yeah.
It's hard to not play that way when you see other guys on your team doing it, you know?
Yeah. I'm 31st in the league in block
blown
shots.
away if like you don't see a guy like Desharnais doing that type of thing. I feel like that's just like right in his wheelhouse.
I think that's fair too. I'm trying to who's our right side? CC, Bouchard, Barry, and Desharnais.
I just
7. And Broberg's playing better, so you can get a couple extra minutes. Would you take it off Kulak and take a little bit off Nurse?
I've really liked Desharnais so far. My just hesitation with him is he's still just getting his feet wet. I'm trying not to pile too much expectations on the guy.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. But
I mean, so the first 2 games was, obviously the level of competition was down a bit. He looked fine against Vegas. Tonight and Tuesday, you're going to get a really good test of some of the top teams in the league, and let's see what he can do with her.
Yeah.
Any other trade proposals? Or are we good?
We're good.
So let's wrap it up. Oh, before we wrap it up, I just want to give a quick shout out to our friend Amar. He just welcomed his firstborn Ruhan Gill. So that was on Thursday, January 11th. So quick
job,
shout out to
Amar.
him.
Congrats.
Shout out to Amar.